Hi, I'm Brenda Bear and welcome to my little yarny channel about crochet, knitting, and spinning stuff, and a little bit of dyeing yarn too. So, hi if you're new here, and welcome if you're new here, and thank you for watching if you're new here or if you're coming back too. Okay, so this video, I'm not really going to be showing any crochet, knitting, or spinning projects. This is more of an update to my last video. At the end I was talking about an experiment I wanted to do with using lichens to make dye for dyeing my yarn that I've spun up. So try to just get right into it. The first lichen that I'm going to show is commonly called oak moss, but it's not a moss, it is a lichen. And this is just a little piece. Not the best example because this has been picked up off the side of the road and crumbly and it's all dry inside here, but the one side is this grayish green color and the underside of that is more of a lighter white. Try to give you the scientific name for it. I'm not going to pronounce it right, but I'm going to try. So, Vernia prunastri. So, the first part of the scientific name is Evernia, and the species part of the name is Prunastri. And I will try to be smart and include that somewhere or in the description box thing below. So with natural dyes, one of the ways of making natural dyes with, for say example, onion skins. You take the onion skins and you put them in a pot of water on the stove and let it simmer for at least an hour, and you'll get color change to the water, and like for example yellow, and you can put your yarn or fabric in and simmer it again for about an hour, and you have yellow yarn in the end. And this book, they call that method the boil with water method, or BWM. The other method that this book talks about is the ammonia fermenting method, which is the one I am experimenting with. So basically you put the dye matter, in this case lichen, and some ammonia and some water, and you leave it in there for a while, several weeks to a few months. This one I just started 3 days ago, so I meant to film this right when I started it, but didn't happen. So this is where I'm at right now. The brown is a good sign, and eventually this will start to look like grape juice or wine in color. I'm starting to notice a little bit more of a reddish tinge, so I am hopeful, get too much glare, that this is on the right track and working. And the other thing is you want to shake it a lot, and yeah, I'm hopeful that this works. I'm going to try to really roughly explain what's going on. So from what I understand, the ammonia and the water and the oxygen has a reaction with the acids, or I can't remember the name of it. Usnic? Starts with a U. An acid in the lichen, and it eventually produces that red or kind of color, and I think they would call it orso. I'm still learning, so hopefully I didn't get that wrong. If I stop and try to pronounce every word or spell out every word I don't know how to pronounce, this would take like over an hour. So I'm trying to be quick. Anyway, so the next one, so I have an empty jar, I haven't started, is another very common lichen from around here. It's a shield lichen. On rocks or trees you might see a patch of lichen growing in kind of a round shape. That's kind of where I think it gets its name. The reason I haven't started this one is I haven't collected quite enough, I think, and then of this type. And the other thing is I'm trying to figure out from my own curiosities of exactly what I have. These may be different, but they might be the same, because depending on where the location where it was or how much sun it was receiving, the color can vary a little bit. I'm pretty sure, because it's a shield lichen, that I've figured out the genus, but the species I'm still trying to sort out. So yeah, these are, you might be able to tell they're slightly different colors. And there's also chemical tests that you can do to better help determine exactly what you have. I don't have all the tools for that yet, but I do have my trusty old microscope from years ago, so that I can at least look up and, or look more closely and see some of the other physical characteristics of the lichen, and at least sort of sort out what I have. So that's why this one hasn't been started, because I want to know more before I start just throwing stuff in a jar. The last one is kind of different. It is a tube lichen. To show. It looks kind of like the first one, but each of these little branches are hollow tubes. The brown circly, or not quite circle things, are I'm gonna try to pronounce it apothea. They're like little cup-shaped structures that have a brown, in this case brown, disc where it produces spores for reproduction. This one, there's a bunch around on the ground because we had a rainstorm, but I have tried. I'm pretty sure I've figured out what exactly I have, but with the tube lichen in this book, I haven't seen very much about it being used for dyes. There's a type of tube lichen, like genus name, that it does mention, but they use the boil and water method, and didn't see anything about the ammonia method used with this dye. So I tried researching more. With this book, I found that there are at least 4 different chemical like acids that the lichen produces that are good to know and are useful in other ways, but none of those were acids or chemicals that are produced naturally in the lichen that are known, at least by this book, to be able to be used as a dye. So I might be just ending up with some brown nasty looking liquid in the end, but because I haven't found anything that said you can't, I thought I would try because I was curious. And even if it is just some brown funky dye in the end, that's okay because I like brown. I really do. So, oh, and my other thing is when I started this experiment, I tried to be very careful. The underside, that's all bark from a tree. I think a ponderosa pine or cedar. I can't remember off the top of my head because I didn't write that down and I didn't take a picture of the tree. It was by, anyway, has a lot of bark and I tried to peel it off, but this lichen is so well attached with its little rhizome things, not roots, that, try to show, I tried to pick it all off, but it was still, there was still enough on there to where I'm wondering if my experiment is going to be affected by the tannins in the bark, making it a brown. But at the same time, this one is brown too, so, and that's a good sign, at least with this, the oak moss of Vernia lichen. So, in a way, the color is a good sign, but in another way, knowing what I know about wood and bark and tannins, I may have messed up. So anyway, this is that one. Try to show. It seems to me that this one is darker, and it makes me wonder about the bark. I had way less bark in this one. So that's this one, and this one I just started yesterday too, so well, we will see, I guess. So that's my funky tube lichen experiment. I want to, here's another example of the tube lichen, and the little apathia spore cup things are kind of large on this one. I was thinking maybe, I mean, I might not be getting all of the lichen, but if I tried to like use scissors or something to make sure I have no bark. I don't know, it's an idea. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Sorry, I have a pile of stuff behind me. So I will try to in future videos, because I know like this process takes quite a while, at least say like, here's the jar, this is where it's at so far, or here's the jar, I think this experiment has failed. But in a way it's not a failure because I still learned something. So yeah, that's my new little curiosity of dyeing yarn with lichen. Oh, I do have one last thing. So mushrooms can be used to dye lichen too. And there's one that's very popular, I guess. It's called Dyer's Polypore. I know the scientific name when I see it, but I don't have it in front of me. Anyway, they're best, like, okay, it's best to use the Dyer's Polypore when it's fresh, but I have found that you can still have some success with older specimens from previous seasons. It's just not as strong. So I was lucky enough to be able to find some out on a walk. So I got I found a real big, huge one. So I took a chunk. This is a pretty big chunk. And this just looks like a piece of wood. They grow on trees, usually near the bottom and base of the tree, and I think they're, what's the word, they're kind of like a parasite type instead of like a mutual relationship. So yeah, I got lucky to find a little piece, and I'm gonna try that too. And this one doesn't have to have the ammonia for weeks and weeks. This you can just simmer in water. So that's another experiment that I plan on doing sometime soon. So yeah, that's it, and I just want to say thanks for watching again, and I hope you have a wonderful whatever it is when you watch this. Take care. Bye.